Hello, it's Jeremy with the Level Designer, and this is going to be my second video for the week on this first-person shooter project. And if this is your first time watching my channel, I welcome you. And this month, for October, I'm going to be participating in a thing called Blocktober, which is a monthly challenge for level designers to work on their blockout skills and level design skills. So that's what I've been doing for the last week or so. And last week we worked with Unity on a open world level design, kind of featuring the theme of Viking zombies. And this week we are now going into Unreal Engine, and we are making a first-person shooter with the theme of trick-or-treating. So that's kind of what we were working on yesterday, and as you can see, I have kind of this makeshift house kind of going, and I have made kind of like a indication of what you really are doing, and then I have a thing where I have modeled candy, and you are just throwing candy, and the kind of the goal would be this could be a multiplayer map, and there's different different kids running around throwing candy and stuff. So that's what we have right now. But we really want to expand on this. So what I said I was going to do is I said that I was going to work on some stuff in Blender, and that's exactly what I have done. So I'm going to go through here and see what I have. So I have this suburb house that I made, so I will go ahead and import that in here. And then I also have some playground equipment. I said that the middle of the map could be this giant park. So what I did was I went in and I went ahead and made some low poly playground equipment. So kind of start out, we have this house here that I made. I'm not a huge fan of it. I just think it looks kind of odd. So I'm gonna go in and I'm going to bring in this house, and I'm gonna actually turn on a snapping with this. So I'm gonna just turn this 180 degrees. And then, as you see right here, it's all modeled and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and really size this up. So I'm just gonna size it up really huge as I can get it. And this is something that I just quickly 3D modeled today. It might have some issues with it, especially like with the staircase. But kind of what I want to do is get the scale of the house down. So I want to make it kind of feel like I am a kid, and everything's kind of bigger than usual. So what I could do is kind of go in here, and I don't really have a good stairs or anything right here, which is not really something that I like. And there's a collision on this house that's not allowing me to go up to the porch, so I can't really get a good sense of that. And I could probably go in here and set up like different collisions for this, but I'm just gonna kind of keep it as is, and just make sure that the scale feels right, which I don't really know. It's kind of it's kind of iffy, I guess. Like, I'm not. I think the scale's kind of good. I don't think it's too bad. It kind of does seem like it's a bit bigger than normal, so I'm okay with it. And just kind of the goal is to make sure that it's big. I'm not a huge fan of the collision though. I'm gonna have to fix the collision sometime. I'm sure I could figure that out though, but it's kind of bouncing all over the place. So yeah, but you know, it's something where I can go in here later and fix it. So we have a house going. And what we could actually do too is, you know, we can we'll get rid of this. And what we could do is we could just duplicate this and really just start getting a neighborhood going. How do you duplicate things, by the way? Duplicate, Control W. There we go. So they're gonna be kind of the same house right now, but I just want to kind of get a good I want to get a good start going on this map. So in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really scale this out more, probably as much as I can. And we can always adjust the ground later and do all that. I just want to have enough space to work with. So we said we wanted a park in the middle of the map, so the houses right here are not going to work in this current spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to also select the mailbox if I can get to it. No? I don't know. There we go. I'm just going to move these back a bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a, I'm going to go back into the brush editing. And then I'm going to go into geometry right here. I'm going to place a box. I'm just going to have this go all the way down kind of into the ground. And you could probably go underneath and just bring this face up. But what I'm going to do with this box is I'm just going to map out the area of which we want the park. So this is just going to be the entire width of the park itself, and we're going to just try to create a good area for it. So we have to keep in mind that we might want streets. So what we could actually do is we could use the geometry to place, you know, streets and whatnot. So we might work on that. But this is definitely just kind of a part of the process very early on. Just we want to kind of first get a scale of things, and that's why I made the houses, so I could, you know, kind of keep everything cohesive. But also I want to just use plain shapes now to just get a general layout of the level. And you know, we're not working on any sort of you know, detail or anything like that. It's purely all going to be just for layout reasons that we're going to be working on this. So I'm going to move this a bit. So we kind of have an area where we are going to have a park going. I think this is kind of a good size start to the park. You know, you could also make a bunch of trees. So if we wanted to put in a cylinder here and then size this down. size this out like that. What we could do is we could make some just some trees to indicate that this is a park area. And of course I'm gonna disable snapping on the scale, just because I'm not a huge fan of scale snapping, but grid and rotation is just fine in my opinion. So we have that going, and then what we could do is we can add in a cone. It didn't go in. There we go. I don't know. A cone brush. So with this cone, what we could do is we can really size this up, make it even taller. And I feel like making this bigger for sure. Like I don't like. I think it's too thin for that. I think that might be good though. So let's try this. And I mean, we could just make a very, very, very plain, basic tree with these geometry tools. Like, it doesn't have to be too complex. We do want to make sure that, you know, things are kind of lined up and makes sense and feels good though. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, this is a solid tree. Now, we'll want to go in and into the play, and we'll want to get a sense of scale for this. And I think that this is way too small. I mean, we're a kid, so we might not want this to be that small. So what we're going to do is we're going to really size this up. But what we could do is we could size this in just a bit, and just try to make it feel tall, taller than, you know, what we're probably used to as full-grown adults, of course. So if we go ahead and play it, that's getting pretty. It's getting better. I think it's still too short though, but just from the context of it just being too short. We could really bring this top side and really bring it up. And another kind of good thing that we could do is we could kind of compare it to the house too. You know, trees can be pretty tall. You know, they can be taller than houses sometime. It just kind of depends. But I think we kind of have the bottom good. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with this actually. I think that's pretty good. And actually, I don't know. I feel like we still need to make this bark a little bit more bigger. So I'm just gonna go in here and just widen it. Widen it a lot. And we could play it, and maybe that's a bit too wide. So yeah, we can just go back and make more adjustments. Maybe a little bit smaller. I think I scaled it. I think that's fine. So we have this huge tree right here. Now let's work on a little gate. So we want to really define the park area. We really want to make it a central landmark where, you know, everybody can see it and kind of know where. Excuse me, yawning. Whew, it's been a long day. Kind of see it and know, okay, this is where I am in relation to everything else on the map. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add just some fencing, and again, this is probably not gonna be too complex or anything, but I just want to set some good boundaries, make it a defined area that you can go into. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna revert that. I'm gonna just move this in, just so we can keep things kind of on a level where I guess it doesn't really matter, huh? That's fine. You know, it's just shapes. I just kind of get kind of nitpicky when I am working with a shape like this and with a system like this, and when I select, you know, an object, the origin point is like off somewhere else. It kind of bothers me, and I'm sure that there's a way to circumvent that. I'm not too familiar with that right now, and I could look into it later, but yeah, it's just kind of like, okay. But anyway, we're gonna work on a fence wall, and I kind of want this to go kind of down, kind of towards the middle. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just select this, and then I'm going to duplicate it, and just make sure that it, you know, kind of, there's a middle part to this whole gate, right? So I'm gonna just go into here, and I'm gonna bring that out there. I'm gonna bring that right there. I do kind of want the gate area to be a bit wider than usual, just so there's some good areas where you could, you know, you don't really want to funnel people in a specific area, so the less kind of areas where you're kind of forcing people to funnel through a very small area, kind of the better. That way, you know, you don't want people to, you know, rely on you know, spawn camping, you know, spawn killing or anything like that. So right now, we can check the gates here. They do seem to be pretty good sized. This could be like the bottom area, the bottom part of the gate, and then we could add in later just a top part to make it feel a lot more taller. So yeah, we can do that later. I'm just gonna take these. Oh, I have to do, nope. Okay, I don't know. Okay, we'll duplicate those, and we'll bring those over here. And just kind of, you know, size them on there. And we have that going. So on the sides here, what we could do is we could also duplicate all of these, and then we could do that, and we can rotate, and we could rotate these 90 degrees, and then we could just move them. Now we might have to make a few, you know, adjustments here and there, but I think we could work with that. Again, I don't want to close off entirely each kind of side of the park. I really want to try to make sure that, you know, no matter where you are at the map, you have easy access to pretty much any area. So I'm not too I just want to add gates just to set a certain perimeter around the park, but really, like, I don't know, I just don't want to completely close it off. And what I could do too is, you know, you could add kind of a fortification kind of a layout for this, where, you know, maybe there's like a little platform that, you know, kids might want to go on to peek over the wall and throw some candy at some other kids. I don't know. It's always a possibility there. So we'll kind of go out and make this, and we kind of have a good little park area going here, where you know, I think that there is some areas where, you know, you could go in and out, and also want to make sure that this is easily, you know, you can get in here, which you can. So I'm okay with that. And what we could do too is we could just you know, we could really just copy these trees and make a few trees. We're not gonna make a lot. We're just gonna try to kind of get the feeling of the tree. And really, you know, the purpose of a blockout is to get, you know, not only the layout but just the general idea of what everything is going to be too. So, you know, we don't have to spend a lot of time on detail necessarily, but I think trying to convey through, you know, the shapes and whatnot, you want to kind of give the artists and the 3D modelers and everybody else kind of the sense of your ideas and stuff. So this is just kind of a part of the process. So what we're gonna do is we're going to duplicate this tree. And we're just gonna copy and paste it. It's just a plain tree. And what we could do is we could just go through and just duplicate these three, and we kind of have this area going. What we could do is we can duplicate these trees, put them here, and then we can we'll just copy one of these trees and we'll just kind of place them kind of on the opposite sides or something like that. So we just have a good park area. We have some trees just to kind of give it the sense that you know, it's a giant park. So one of the things that I created in Blender was a bunch of playground equipment, just to kind of give the sense of like, oh, this is a park. You know, kids go here all the time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in some of these assets that I have. And again, what we'll want to do is we'll want to get a good sense of the scale. So again, this is kind of this is actually not a bad scale. I might bring it down just a bit though, just to not have it like super big. I don't think a slide is gonna necessarily be that huge, but we do want to make it much more taller than a kid, of course. I think that's a really good scale. I mean, we we have the sense of it's being really tall, and for a kid, a slide's going to be really high up the ground. And yeah, so I think that's a really good start right there. So we'll kind of place these around first. Again, I think that this should be much bigger. This is going to be just a merry-go-round. Yeah, that is, maybe that's a bit big, though. I would say it's not that big. Maybe it should be smaller. It's kind of hard to figure out, like, how big these really should be, because I haven't been a kid in years. I think that's perfect. This is actually really good, I think. So I have that one. So what we could start to do is we could start to really place these around. So I'm going to place this kind of back towards one of these walls here. And then I'm going to place this And also, you know, feel free to, you know, add some angles. Uh, don't be scared to really have things look kind of different and off and whatnot. So maybe we want to have just a slide here. That would be good. And then with this, I'm actually going to move this back. And then I have this swing. And of course we want to make sure that the swing is really, really good sized and whatnot. So I'm just going to move this back here. Again, we want to keep in mind that, you know, if kids are going to be swinging on this, we don't want it to really be too close to like a tree or anything, because of course kids are going to be swinging, and we, you know, wouldn't want to have our kids go on a swing if there was like a fence or a tree right behind the swing, because they're going to get hurt. So again, we want to keep those sort of things in mind. I'd say that that's a pretty good size. I think it's still a little big, but I think if we just size it down a little bit, because we want to kind of make, if we were a kid, we want to try to, you know, give the sense that we could get on these swings. And maybe they are a bit high. Maybe these are for big kids. I do remember when I was a kid, I mean, there were times where I did feel like, you know, swings like this, especially when I was a really little kid, you know, sometimes stuff like that was a bit big for me, and you just kind of have to grow up a little bit. So, you know, it might not be entirely unrealistic to have sorry, it might not be too entirely unrealistic to have, you know, something like this not really to scale right now, but I don't know. And maybe and I could have probably, you know, I could probably bring this down a bit and make it, yeah, I think that's actually good. You know, I could probably jump in there and stuff. I think that's a good size. I'm also going to probably rotate this a little bit more. And move this back a bit. There we go. So I think we have this good part going. I think everything is to scale and everything looks pretty good, and I mean it really kind of makes you feel like you're a kid again. Again, no pun intended. So yeah, I really think that that's really cool. So now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna lay out some more of the map in general. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go in here. I'm gonna select all of that. I'm gonna select these houses, and I'm going to push these back a little bit more. Because what I want to do is I want to get a street in here, and I don't want the street to feel too... I don't want the street to feel too, you know, small, or I want it to feel right. I'm going to make these, this mailbox come out just a little bit more. Because what I'm trying to do is I want to build like a sense of, you know, having a huge front yard. So that's what I'm going to kind of do now. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to bring this out, and I'm going to size it down, and I'm just going to make kind of a street. And here's another challenge. Streets when you're a kid are really huge. I mean, they are kind of a big thing that you know, you want to make sure that there's, yeah, that may be too big though, but go here, and then we'll play it, and we'll get a sense of the street itself. And then we want to, kind of keep in mind that there could be sidewalks, there could be different things, so. I think that's a pretty good, sized street there. Maybe it could be a little bit skinnier. I think it should be a little bit more skinnier. Again, this is not really a like a huge road or anything, so we could make it a bit skinny and make it go. And we're really just gonna stretch this out as much as possible. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually duplicate this again. I'm gonna move one over here. I'm just gonna make this really skinny and just kind of make it resemble a sidewalk. And then I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm gonna do the same on this side. It's just gonna be like our sidewalks. Just really get a sense of, that. I think, and I don't know, I do kind of think that these houses are a bit far back now. Excuse me. So I'm going to bring these in. And again, another thing that I want to focus on is I want to make sure that a house is going to have a good sized front yard. So I'm going to go in here. And then we have our street and we have our sidewalks, and they're really big, and we might even make the sidewalks skinnier, but again, we want to keep in mind that, as a kid, sidewalks may be a little bit more bigger, so, but I think this is too big, so we will probably just get that down. And then we have a good kind of front yard area. I think this is perfect. I think this is a really perfect front yard size, so I don't necessarily think we need to really fix that, but I do want to fix these sidewalks because I do think they're a bit big. So maybe like that, and kind of keep those in the middle there. And what we could do is just delete that, and then we can just duplicate this and then move it over. So, I don't really want streets right next to the park here. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to duplicate another house. And I'm going to just have it... Whoa! Yeah, we don't want that. Wrong axes. We're going to have a house here. And maybe these can have like smaller front yards. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably create like 2 alleyways. So I'm gonna have an alleyway kind of like right here, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this house, and I'm gonna turn it around. I'm just gonna have 2 alleyways that are gonna be like that, and then I'm going to select these, and then I'm going to duplicate those, and I'm going to put them on the other side and try to make a good sized block. So right now we're just trying to get the symmetry kind of made on the map, and right now I'm just trying to place some houses. Again, in a project you'll probably want to make sure that or in a project there will be different, you know, styles of houses and whatnot. But I think it's fine to kind of keep the same house right now, especially just for layout purposes. Um, you know, I think this is a really good looking house, so I think it really can be used. I think that's fine. Um, so right now we're going to just, again, we're just going to keep duplicating, and we're going to get a good sense of the houses. What? I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. So now what we could do is we could select all these houses, and we can just duplicate it and move them over here. Now I do want to create some I do want to create some chaos in this kind of thing that I'm doing here. And what I want to do is I want to create some empty spaces. So we have a house right here. I'm going to delete it. And we have a house right here. I'm going to delete it. Actually, no, I'm not going to delete that house. I'm going to delete this house. And I'm going to add some asymmetry. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to be a little bit more creative in what we want to do. You know, we have a... Oh, God, this is looking really... Like, this feels like a neighborhood for sure. But what we could do is we have this space right here. We could put in something else. We can, you know, add in a haunted house. That's something that I kind of wanted to do. So right here, instead of having a house, I'm going to have another type of house. I'm going to have a haunted house. And this haunted house is something that I'm going to allow the players to go in. This is going to be something where the player is going to be able to go in here. And of course, I'm going to make this kind of the same size. Excuse me. I'm going to make this kind of the same size as some of the other buildings, but I'm going to make it relatively a little bit more bigger. And maybe this is a haunted house, and this is kind of the cool thing where you can kind of get creative and what is this haunted house going to look like? I mean, this could be just a normal old house, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of what if it was a business and they're trying to attract different customers into their business. So they're like, hey, you know, let's have just a very simple kind of spooky haunted house. So, you know, we could kind of go with that, but let's just create kind of just a general building. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of have it go out here. And of course we'll want to test the size of this, but we're going to drag in another box. And we're going to actually turn this to a subtractive box. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this really big. Just so I can see it. And I'm going to just drop it on the top here. And I'm just going to create the walls. So I think that's kind of a good size for the walls. I'm just going to drag that right here. I'm going to make that kind of come in closer. And then I'm going to drag that out to here. So we kind of have a good layout going now. So I'm going to go inside here. Oh, actually what we'll want to do is we'll want to select this. We'll want to go in here and select this bottom face. Man, I'm tired. I'm actually on holiday right now from my other job, and I just I'm excited to get some work done, but kind of sleepy. So Yeah, right here, you can't really see it, but we have kind of hollowed out this area. So what we could actually do now is we can actually create another box and make a subtractive box. And what we could do is we could actually just boop, poke that through there. And you see we kind of have a door going. So we could really just size this up and just make a door. And that's how you can easily create just buildings in Unreal. So I want to kind of get a good sense of this building. Make sure that it's huge. We want to make sure that the door is pretty big. So if we're a kid and we're kind of going through here, we want to kind of be like, oh wow, like yeah. I mean, it's a pretty big door, so I think that's fine. And maybe this isn't a haunted house. Maybe this is just a general store that you go into, and you could put like a giant counter, and it doesn't have to be a huge store. Maybe it's just like a small little, little business. But I mean, as far as the size of the building, it fits kind of all the other houses, so I don't think that's too out of the ordinary. The door may be a bit big though, especially kind of compared to the other kind of just houses. Their doors probably aren't as big, but what you could do is you could size this down and you could kind of make it feel like a double-decker door. And you go back and play test it, make sure that the scale of the door is right. Just going around and trick-or-treating. I really like this bucket. This bucket's really cool. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good height. I think for like a double-decker door, maybe it's it's 2 doors. I do think that we should really expand this out. I think that looks good. And what we could do too is we could actually make some windows. So if we wanted to duplicate this, we could just move this over here. We'll just make some windows. We make them a bit skinny. And we can duplicate and just add in another window on this side. You have kind of a good outline for a business or something, so that is pretty cool. And right now I feel like we're moving a bit fast. And like we don't necessarily have to fix that right now, but I'm gonna see what I could do at least kind of for the time being, because I don't know, I feel like we could be going a little bit more faster. So I'm gonna go into here, and this is not necessarily something that you have to do, but especially from a space standpoint, or in figuring out, like if a space feels good to navigate in, it is kind of important to get the navigation aspects and the different speeds kind of, at a good point. So you do want to kind of work on that stuff. We do have character movement here. We have walking. So we have max walk speed. I don't think that there's a running or anything, but what we could do is we could just make this, we could just double this. So right now the max walk speed is 600, so let's just make that 1200. And then let's make this crouched 600. And let's just see what that does. So I think that's a bit, I think that's a bit fast. So instead of 12, let's go down to 1,000. and then let's just turn this down to 500. 500. Yeah, I think that's much better. And like, kind of the thing is, because before it felt like we were walking, and it says walking on the settings right there, but I'm fine with it feeling like we're. Excuse me. I'm fine with feeling like we're running. As again, this game is a bunch of kids running around throwing candy at each other. They're not going to be walking. So I'm good with it being a little bit more fast paced, and that will allow us to get around a little bit more. But yeah, I really think that the speed is good. And I'm gonna duplicate these houses a bit. I'm gonna duplicate these right here. I'll just go down a bit. And what I'm gonna do as well is I'm going to select all these. And I'm just going to duplicate them. I'm going to switch them around at 180. And I'm just going to put these on the other side. So that way, we have a clear defined neighborhood at least. And what we could do in later videos is we can, work a little bit more on just the general layout of the level. I think and what we want to work on next video is we want to kind of go a little bit more in depth with kind of some of the background mechanics. So we'll want to, choose our spawn points. I think that will be very important, especially early on. So I kind of have some ideas for, different spawn points and what those could be. So we'll kind of explore those, and we'll try to get at least a solid outline of the level and make it a little bit more confined in an area. I don't think we're going to go any bigger than this, though. I think this is a really good sized map, especially something a little bit more smaller. And we're probably going to explore more, asymmetry. We're going to try to get kind of things in a place where things are symmetrical. But I feel like with how I approach, especially multiplayer maps, I think it's better to have that symmetry. And once you have that symmetry, to take some of that symmetry away and add a little bit of chaos to the map to make it feel different in different places. So that's what we're going to kind of do for the next few days. So hopefully, you have liked this video, and, this has been a really fun, interesting series to watch. So yeah, if you guys, have any questions or have any suggestions, feel free to comment down below, and I can, reach back and reach out and, reply to any feedback or any questions that I can answer. And yeah, I look forward to working on this more tomorrow, and I hope everybody has a great day. And if you're watching this on, I think it's Columbus Day right now. If you're watching this on Columbus Day, have a great holiday. And I look forward to speaking with you guys next time. So I'll see you guys, and have a great day.